Hello, I'm Mike Logan from AskMikeTheCounselor2.com. A few minutes after our previous domestic violence video, in which we talked about the power and control wheel and the cycle of violence. And what I want to do with this short little video is talk about another set of victims of domestic violence, and that's the kids. The hidden victims of domestic violence are the children who witness mom and dad fighting. And in families where there is domestic violence, the children are at a significantly greater risk for being abused themselves. But even if there is never a hand laid on a child or the children are really tied into, especially younger than 7 or 8 years old, before they have the ability to create an explanation in their own head about what's going on between mom and dad and who's going to take care of them. The children blame themselves, number one. If I were a better kid, mommy and daddy wouldn't fight so much. So children are tied into and very aware of the emotional connection between mom and dad. And if there is tension between mom and dad, whether the children ever witness mom and dad hitting each other, they will be impacted in their amygdala, where they will store an emotional memory of the tension, and that impacts their ability to form strong relationships when they are adults. Okay, so hidden victims of violence is the children. They are sensing the tension. It impacts their ability to pay attention to the world around them with any significant amount of time focused on a task. They are filled with adrenaline and cortisol and stress hormones, which impacts their brain development if mommy and daddy are struggling to establish any kind of loving relationship. Children in a relationship where there's domestic violence, whether they see it or not, or have a hand laid on them, have a lot of stress in their lives. Now, children who are abused see that they are in danger of losing their life. They form a little amygdala memory up here, which impacts their ability to talk, to trust, and to feel forever. And in fact, 50 years later, if that amygdala memory gets cued, they will flood with adrenaline and cortisol, and now they're in an adult's body. And perhaps it all happens in about 1/18 of a second, twice as fast as I can blink my eyes. And they may not have the ability to stop themselves some 50 years later. Okay, so there's a tremendous impact on the children when there's tension between mom and dad, whether they see mom and dad fight or not. That's not the point. If they do see mommy and daddy striking each other, dad striking mommy is the traditional kind of domestic violence, although depending on your model, Murray Strauss's domestic violence database says that women strike men about as often as men strike women. However, the shelters see a terrible preponderance of what Michael Jensen calls patriarchal terrorism, men beating women because they can. If children are in that kind of family, then they are going to grow up with amygdala memories and a belief system about violence and about violence to women. So if they witness it, and that's a tremendous impact on them. And if they are the victim of child abuse, in 1/18 of a second, they are left with an entirely different brain. So there are tremendous deficits to children who are truly the hidden victim in the domestic violence scenario. Thank you very much. Mike Logan, AskMikeTheCounselor2.com, domestic violence videos.